Biden, right in the middle of a recount that's going on there. How can they call the race before the recount is complete? Out of respect for it, shouldn't we see how it unfolds? Maybe they don't think so. That's one of the things we're trying to do here at NewsMax. That's why we haven't called everything. We're trying to let the process play out. And when that happens, we'll call it whatever way is appropriate. Now, a Pennsylvania judge has ruled in favor of the Trump campaign, at least in one regard. The court concluded that Pennsylvania's Secretary of State did not have authority to change the deadline for receiving mail-in ballots to November 12th. A lower court had previously ruled that the ballots should be set aside until a decision was made, and now those ballots will officially be tossed out. Joining us now to discuss the impact of this ruling, Thane Rosenbaum, Distinguished University Professor at Touro College, and Harvard Law Professor Alan Dershowitz. He is the author of Wall Street Journal bestseller, Guilt by Accusation. Thane, as you look at the landscape right now, what's got your attention in this whole recount and these legal issues?
Well, Bob, certainly the one that what you just described, the state court judge in Pennsylvania, because the significance of that case is that that's not about alleging fraud or irregularities or even human error. It just simply means that the law in Pennsylvania that permitted an extension, and remember, this is a little different. It's not just the extension of the deadline of the ballots. It's the extension on top of an extension to fix the ballots. That's what this judge was ruling, that in addition to the 3 days that the voter had to mail in the ballot and postmark it on election day, they were given yet another 3 days to cure the ballot if their identification was unverifiable, you know, the signature, the date, or the address. So the judge said the additional 3 dates is problematic, and those votes cannot be counted. But the significance of this is because before the Supreme Court right now, under review, don't know if they're going to take it, is the larger constitutional question, which is, was it constitutionally permissible for the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania to have extended the deadline for mail-in ballots from the election day on, because our Constitution requires that it's only state legislators that are permitted to have the time, place, and manner regulation of elections, and that the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania went beyond its constitutional authority in doing that. Now, the question is, will the Supreme Court hear this case, and will this ruling by this Pennsylvania judge have an effect on whether the Supreme Court hears this case?
Yeah, and Alan Dershowitz, sir, would there have to be a consequence? In other words, if it's just a small number of votes that doesn't affect the outcome, would the Supreme Court say, no, there is no, I forget the term, no damage, or there's no one that suffered in this, so we're not even going to take it? Does that matter?
No harm, no foul. That's another way of putting it. Situation. The Supreme Court doesn't have.
Yeah, Alan, I hate to do this. We're not hearing you. We're getting really bad audio. Say a sentence. Maybe I can hear you better here. No. No, I'm sorry. We'll have to get you. That's frustrating. But let me go back to Professor Rosenbaum. Would the Supreme Court take it if they feel like that's not a big enough number of ballots to affect the outcome anyway?
Bob, you're absolutely right. And in fact, that is something that Justice Alito already said. He kept telling twice the Pennsylvania election officials, segregate the ballots, which gives you a sense that at least a few of the Supreme Court justices are very interested in this constitutional question of whether it was permissible to extend the deadline for late arriving ballots. He said, segregate the ballots, keep them separate. But the reason he did that is to know how many ballots we're talking about.
Right.
Because the Supreme Court, Bob, isn't interested in a pure academic exercise. As you point out correctly, if there are sufficient number of these late arriving ballots or defective ballots that came in by the deadline, but that have been cured after the deadline, which now this judge just said, if it was cured 6 days later, that was impermissible. The Supreme Court's going to say, look, it has no effect on the outcome. It has to have enough ballots in dispute to overturn the outcome. Otherwise, the Supreme Court will probably take no interest in this at all.
All right, Professor Rosenbaum, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bob.